Hello and welcome to my podcast, Become. My name is Sabine Quinberg and I am your host. The content will inspire you to reach your aspirations and become the best version of yourself. I feature interviews with successful individuals from various industries delving into their personal and professional journey, how they overcame adversities and the strategies they used to achieve their goals. We have to become the person we are meant to be first, so we can live the life we are destined to live. That also means we must overcome challenges and work through difficult times to learn, grow, and become the next, more fabulous version of ourselves. I'm so glad that you're here. Let's get on this journey together. Hello, and welcome to another great show of Become. My guest today is Derick Johnson, a U.S. veteran turned life coach that helps people to break old patterns so they can thrive, not just survive. And that's why I am so glad to have you here. So welcome.
Thank you for having me, Sabina.
Yeah, I look forward to talk with you today. And you know what you just said, just melted my heart. You said, oh, you're welcome, Sabine. So you said it in a perfect German way. You speak German, right?
Yes, I speak German. My mother is German and my father is African American. So my dad was stationed in Germany and he met my mother in the discotheque years ago, long time ago. So they met there and then years later they had my sister. And then 6 years later, they had me. But yeah, so as a child, I lived in Germany until second grade. And then we moved to the United States, to the state of Florida. Every couple of years, we would visit my family in Germany. So all my mom's side is in Germany.
All right. Yes. So that is very interesting. You're my second guest, actually, who is from Germany. I have a very diverse pool of guests that I have the pleasure to talking with. Tell our listeners just real quick what is your background? As I mentioned, you were a U.S. veteran and now a life coach. So just give us a little bit more background of what you now do.
Yes, for sure. So nowadays, I do two things with my coaching business. One is strictly performance based, as in athletes that want to break records. Like one of my clients, she has a brother who has a disability, and she did for months have a world record of the marathon, pushing her brother in his wheelchair. So like we trained physically for that. So some are strictly performance. Other clients, it's mainly mindset. I still give them workouts in my training app, but everything regarding mindset could be they're doing well in their career, but they hit a ceiling. They need to improve public speaking. Maybe they're great with public speaking in their career, but they've had 3 divorces. Maybe they're in great shape, but they don't make enough money. Like all these different things. So we focus on the body and the mind, and then most importantly, pinpoint the pattern that does not help them so they can thrive and not just do well in 1 or 2 things and everything else they kind of slide in the closet. So we open the closet and focus on that so they can feel much better.
Yeah, you're speaking my language. That's exactly what is so crucial. And sometimes people don't see the bigger picture, the whole picture, so to speak, because they just want to improve in one thing. I just want to get fit or just want to get more money or just wherever, right? But it's really a holistic approach.
Yes.
And I like what you do. So tell me, how did this all come about that you became a life coach?
So what got me into coaching originally was fitness. So as a kid and as a teenager, I love sports and I love pushing my body and mind past its extremes. So past all pain thresholds. I was like psychotic when it came to pushing myself. Like I would run until I would throw up as a kid. I would push myself. My parents were like, you do too much. But I was an adrenaline junkie. I just had to do something. But also is that there was a lot of family things that were happening. So fitness was always my outlet. And I was more so chasing the calmness and the pride of fitness. And then growing up, I was bullied a lot in school. So I was very skinny. And what happened, I delved deep into mindset, deep into fitness, and then I transformed my body. And by the age of 15, friends, family, teachers were asking me, how did I make this transition and this transformation? So then people in my school, along with teachers, started to become my clients, as in just fitness training. So I started at age 15 doing fitness training as a certified trainer, because back then you could be 15 and get certified in Florida. And so I spent years training people just physically. And then after a while, when I got closer to college, I realized that some clients, they months or years after we'd worked together, they'd go backwards. They would lose their progress. One side of me would say, okay, he or she, they're weak, they fell off. That was an old mentality. But the mature mentality said, I did not give him or her the mental tools that they needed to thrive long term. So that's actually what inspired me to get into life coaching, because I would see clients that get in great shape, have a better relationship with food, and then after we worked together, they would just drop. And I felt like it was my fault. So seeing a lot of clients go like this and drop after working with me, then I was like, okay, I need to teach this. We weren't doing any extreme dieting or anything. I don't push any diets or anything like that. It's a holistic approach, but that's what inspired me with it. And then also my own past childhood, different traumas, dark times and all that. That's what really triggered it.
Give yourself a little slack here. I mean, you were 15 when you started teaching people, right? And at that age, I mean, there's so much more we need to learn about mindset and life in general. So that is something, obviously, it's not like your fault. It's just something that you now added onto it. And which is a great lead in what you just said, because there were more things that you also personally experienced. And as you know, in my podcast, I always wanted to make sure to have my guests also share their not so great time, because it's always great to say, oh, look at me, what I do now and how successful I am. But oftentimes people miss the part that to come to that success and feel good about themselves, they had to go through many trials and tribulations, or even dark times. So what was it in your young life that was a really dark time or challenging time that you felt you had to work on your own and on yourself to overcome it, that basically led you where you are now?
That's a great question. So what it was alcoholism and drugs run on both sides of my family. And so, long story short, both parents were the oldest of many siblings. So they played the parents for their brothers and sisters. And their mother would be working multiple jobs, and their fathers weren't really in the life. So there was a lot of traumatic things that happened in their childhood and throughout their life. And I feel like a lot of that spilled into the relationship with me, but I was never the kid that complained. My friends didn't know, my teachers didn't know. I never told anybody anything because my parents were successful in their career. They had a great reputation, so I never wanted to bash that. And also, as a man, I would say you're not allowed to complain, even though I was a boy then, but I just would never complain or tell anybody anything. So I used fitness as an outlet, because late night, after the last bottle was drank, that's when there'd be a lot of screaming, fighting, yelling, glasses thrown, all this stuff. So I'd have to clean up the stuff. And just seeing that from age 11 to age 16 or 17, I got used to it after that first year. Age 11 is when it really first happened, in a dark time where I was shocked because I was good in school, never got in trouble, just went to class and went to sports and didn't really do anything bad. I never smoked, never did drugs. So I was like, why is this happening? At age 12, I could see it in my mom's eyes that she was not yelling at her son. She was yelling through me at somebody else. And I don't know what told me that. God, my conscience, discernment, whatever somebody wants to call it, is I got much calmer in those moments. So one year it was very dark, but then after a while it was more so, okay, what can I learn about this? I don't know everything that happened to her. I don't know everything my dad saw in war or his upbringing. He is from the state of Mississippi, African-American male in Mississippi. It's the most racist state in America. So he has his own different past from there, being beat, like all different types of stuff that I couldn't imagine. So I thought about it, couldn't hold the anger, and I realized that it was only at nights after they would drink. So our house was a beautiful house in Florida, multiple bedrooms, screened in pool. Everybody would come have the cookout. Once everybody left, the last bottle was drinked. Then something would take over and they would just like release. And it was never in the daytime, ever. The next day, hey, where do you want to go have breakfast? Where do you want to go have lunch at? Like nothing happened. So I was good at compartmentalizing those things, but tapping out. So that home life of not really hearing the words that I love you inspired me to work on myself. So at 11 and 12, I started listening to Tony Robbins, reading Napoleon Hill.
You were reading Napoleon Hill. You were reading Napoleon Hill with age 12.
Yes, my dad had all the books on the bookshelf. So like I didn't buy it, but I saw it there and I would read it and all the speakers that I heard on cassette tapes because I'm old enough to have a cassette player and also DVDs and all that. So what stood out was quotes. So like one of the quotes from Tony Robbins back then was, life is happening for you, not to you. And when I first heard that, I was 12 years old and I was like, that makes sense. And then his other quote, I mean, he has hundreds that I could relate to, but the other one was, if my mother gave me the love that I wanted as a child, I wouldn't be the man I am today. And hearing that back then, it all connected. So it's like the weight was lifted. Yes, I still had anger, that kid and that teenager, but I never like let it out. So
Yeah.
fitness was my outlet. At first, it was to build the body because I was bullied, quote unquote, at home at night and then also in school because I came from Germany. So I was very shy, laid back. And then in the South in America, you have to prove yourself in sports. So in Germany, there's not that much aggression or violence compared to the States. So I'm the
No.
mixed kid. People didn't know what I was. And I'm on the basketball court and they're like, oh, who's this guy? He's soft because the way he looks. Like, who's this? Little Michael Jackson or Prince? Because back then I just looked like both of them. So I had to fight at school the first couple weeks and like bust my bully's nose open to prove myself. And then they stopped messing with me. So proving myself at home by working on my body and mind, and then also in school. And then I never ever had to be violent again because I told myself I'm not going to allow people to bully me everywhere that I go. So fitness was step one. And then step two was the mindset. And then also after a workout late night, I would work on my faith because I noticed that I was so calm. And so the funny thing about this is years later, I started learning about shadow work, reflective, perspective hopping, like all these things. I was like, wait a minute, I've done this most of my life. So I feel like everybody who has a certain level of trauma, they're given a gift. So I think my gift was discernment. Some call it consciousness. So being able to read a person and a room without judging and just seeing everything and connecting the dots. Because as a kid, you're in the corner expecting them to throw something, hit you, like you're always hyper aware. So it helped me with training people. I could look at their body and say, oh, her shoulder's tight and this and this. And they're like, how do you see this? But I was just always that quiet kid. I had to go to all the parties with them because I had to drive them and I would just sit and watch people all day. So
This is quite a story, Derek. And you don't hear this too often for children that are the age that you were to really have that awareness and intuition. So everything came together, the spiritual path, personal growth, personal development, and then those quotes. That's why people love quotes. What is, besides those were your favorite quotes? Do you have a favorite quote today that kind of guides you to where you are today?
yes. So one of my favorite quotes is by one of my mentors, Wes Watson. So he's definitely not for everyone. He's like Andy Frisella, if people are familiar, just very aggressive, but they have an amazing life story. So what he always says is, create the man or woman that you would be proud of and give them to the world. Create the man or woman that you would be proud of and give them to the world. So what he means by that is some hyper successful people, they hoard all their information and wisdom. Maybe they don't have kids. Maybe they do, but they don't tell them the wisdom because they see it like as a threat and they don't want the company business in his name, or it all stems from a sense of insecurity. So it's interesting to see because when I think about people that I've met or like places I've lived where I would just talk to people and some people would be really closed off about some topics about success. And when I thought back, I said, oh, it's because they're not teachers. They don't care to make an impact. They made it, but deep down, you could see it in their eyes that they're not fulfilled. Because I believe true fulfillment comes when we give back and then we see others start to grow rather than you hitting the top in the mansion by yourself. Or maybe there is a wife and kids, but they don't really have a connection with them because they don't communicate. So it's always been interesting to me. But being able to share that journey, the knowledge, the wisdom, and experiences with other people, because then they don't feel alone. It's freeing for us to speak. They feel better, we feel better, and then we have the human interaction again. Because as you know, these past few years, everybody kind of lost social skills. People have social anxiety more than ever. You hear that word, like growing up, I never heard that phrase. And nowadays, everybody has it.
Yes, you're so on point. And I love this quote, by the way, because this is really where true happiness comes in, fulfillment. And when we do something that we enjoy, first of all, it's a good indication that you're using your gifts and talents, and it doesn't matter when you start. When I started as a stage and TV actress in Germany, that's what I did before I came over here. But then my husband and I, we started our school, a performing arts school, because we wanted to pass on the love for the performing arts. And that is a fulfillment. And to tell you the truth, when we first started out, I didn't really get the whole experience or meaning behind it. But the more I started teaching and the impact I was able to make in so many children's lives and adult lives as well, that filled my heart. And that goes right into what you just shared with that quote, that we have to give it, our knowledge, our wisdom, we have to give it and share it with the world. That's what a true, happy, fulfilled life looks like. Let me hop in here real quick to share something with you. Have you ever tried to build your own website, start a newsletter, or build a course and charge for it? Have you ever wanted to make money online but are totally confused by all the different systems you need to have? That's why I use Kajabi. Kajabi is the most popular system for online marketers, coaches, thought leaders, and influencers. Kajabi helps online entrepreneurs take off. Over 100,000 of us use Kajabi and have made over $4 billion. Why not be part of it? The best thing is you don't have to figure out tons of systems or crazy technology to start your online business. Kajabi helps you do all of that, and it's all on one platform. That's why I use it. It makes my life so much easier, and I can even earn money while I'm sleeping. You can build your web pages, blogs, and membership sites. You can create offers, checkout pages, and collect money. You can host your videos. You can start your newsletter list, capture emails, start your marketing funnels, all in one place. It makes it fun and easy with awesome tutorials and support. Since I've joined Kajabi from the beginning, I have a special affiliate link that I would like to share with you. A 30-day free trial. So nothing to lose, but everything to gain. Just go to my link that's in the show notes, sabinequinberg.com/resources, and we will redirect you to the free trial page. So now let's get back to the show. So now you're going back and forth to Germany, visiting family that you have there.
It's been a few years, so I haven't been home like years before quarantine and everything, but definitely planning to take my girlfriend soon so she can see it because she's never been to Germany. So yeah, living wise, I like America more, but currently I live in Panama. So I don't live in America right now. So my girlfriend and I, we've always enjoyed just free flowing, as in like we work hard, we have our careers, but we'll just up and move just whenever. We'll just say, hey, you want to live here 6 months? Let's go there 1 year. So we're more so based off of energy, and we're on the same wavelength with that. So currently I live in Panama City, Panama, but in December this year, we may move back to South Florida, and definitely my favorite state is Florida because I'm a Floridian, but just in general is just the freedom. Best way that I could say it would be the freedom.
But what you said, you are a free flowing, free spirit. You like to explore the world, which I love because, quite frankly, most Americans, they never go outside the United States.
Exactly.
Now, first of all, they don't have to because the United States is so huge and you can experience so many different things. But for some reason, that's what I hear. But it also, if you do not see other cultures, if you don't see how other people live, then we are a little bit more closed-minded
Exactly.
and maybe a little bit more of this is just that's the way you live without having that perspective. So I always encourage everybody, travel, go out of your original country wherever it is, even if you are in Germany, go to visit another country,
For sure.
because it opens your perspective. So what is your favorite country that you have visited so far?
I would say energy wise, I don't see myself living there. I would stay there. We would stay there 2 or maybe 3 months max. But Peru,
Oh
the
yeah.
energy, it's hard to explain. And I'm not really that deep into energy and frequency and crystals as that's not my thing. But in terms of trauma healing, we didn't make the trip to heal trauma, but we just knew based off of YouTube videos that that was the healing capital of the world. So going to Lima, going to Machu Picchu, hiking up to Machu Picchu, hiking up Rainbow Mountain. I'll just say there's something that happens when you hike those places internally where you just feel released. And I don't do ayahuasca, to each their own when it comes to psychedelics. It's not my thing, but just being sober and natural and just going up, just hiking, you'd be surprised what happens. And also, what I love in one of the town squares is in Cusco. Cusco, Peru is definitely my favorite city. So there's a big square and you have shops, restaurants, cathedrals, churches. There's a lot of stray dogs. But when people think of stray dogs, they think of unhealthy, don't touch it, it has rabies. There, every dog looks healthy because the whole community takes care of them. They look beautiful, they have the muscle, they have all their fur, everybody feeds them, and like they're just running around happy. You see like 50 different dogs and they're all healthy and running around playing with you, playing with the kids. Like the energy there, it's very peaceful. It's hard to describe until somebody's in those experiences, but I've been to many countries, but no place has had that type of good, positive, warm energy and feeling as Peru, at least for myself. And many others that have been there that I know personally, they all said the same thing. They're like, there's just something about it.
You know, it's so interesting because Peru is on our list to visit. I'm very much in tuned into energy, but I have never heard that Peru is the trauma healing mecca of the world. I did not know that.
It's very interesting. So some people they go there and they'll do ayahuasca. Some call it an ayahuasca trip or the experience, and they do it with a shaman because a lot of those things, the plants and roots and all that, it originated in Peru. So everything is local. We didn't do that. We just did the normal sightseeing tours. But even just being in the vicinity of everything, all that happens. Even if somebody doesn't have any major trauma, they would just feel like their inner child is released. It's a good way to explain it. So hiking up to the top is
Yeah.
different than hiking up most mountains because the energy is just more powerful. So the best way that I can describe it, that I tell my friends, and they laugh when I say this because I don't really speak like this, but I was almost to the top and then I just felt every emotion. I was like crying for no reason, laughing for no reason, and then I yelled and I just released everything. And then out of nowhere, it felt like God was holding me like a little child. That's what I felt. Like even saying it, I'm like getting chills, but it's the best way to describe it. I felt like I was being held again. And I was like, I don't know what's happening right now. And I looked at him, I was like, is this water in here? Like, what is going on? But it was amazing. And on the way down,
Yeah.
the pressure in the chest and the weight, any stress, anxiety, trauma, like whatever's in the chest, just like floated away. And since then, and this was last year, and since then, even like a few days after I got back, all of my clients asked, they're like, man, there's something different about you. Not that I already wasn't positive or working hard, but they were just like, you just seem calmer. And then I told them, I was like, we literally just went hiking and something happened. I was like, I didn't go there with that intent, but
Yeah.
something was released.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
No problem.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. Maybe some of the listeners now get the idea, hey, maybe I have to heal something, or maybe I just want to experience it. Like my husband and I, we definitely want to experience Peru, because just from what we've heard, and now that you shared your experience, I am even more in tune to go there. Wow, Derick, this was such a wonderful conversation, and thank you for
I
sharing
appreciate
your
it.
insights and what you do. So, if people want to get in touch with you, what's the best
They
way
could
to
find
do
me
that?
on any app. They can just search my name, Derick Johnson. This is the same picture on everything. My favorite app is Instagram, so it'd be Fit with Derick 2, the number 2. And on anything else, it's the same name. They'll find it. And then also in terms of coaching, my website is fitwithderick.com. On there, I just like to show real people with real results, pictures, and also testimonial videos where they could see somebody telling their story of, hey, before we did this, I had a divorce, I was struggling, now I've gotten promotions, now I have a better relationship with food, all those real stories, and that's why I like to share videos. But my whole intent with social media is to make people think. Some people, they're like, hey, you're really aggressive, but then they'll text me, they're like, hey, I got out of bed earlier today. I'm like, that's why I do it, I plant the seed. And they're like, I need that harshness.
Exactly. Planting the seeds, and also making sure to give your gift back to the world. And that's what you do so beautifully. So thank you again, Derick, and all the best to you.
Thank you, thank you.
That was my interview. And if you enjoyed it, give us a 5-star review, leave a comment, and share it with your friends. Thanks for listening. Until I see you again, always remember, serve from the heart, follow your passion, and live the life you imagine.